fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
We've seen championships get really interesting over the last couple of rounds of this championship. The mid part of the season has pretty much come to an end. Now we start thinking about this road to home. We went away from Le Mans thinking that endurance was all but wrapped up. But here in the overall championship, not only that, but the sprint championship, this is a whole different kettle of fish. We find ourselves today in Salinas, California, because this is, of course, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and what an important race in the calendar this one proves to be. It's tight, it's twisty, it's all about momentum building, and this one for qualifying is currently underway. It's Shakespeare, Scott Fountain here. Fonty's joining us in the commentary booth for the first time in a little while, and of course, Jay Kennedy on the cameras may jump in from time to time. Fonty, we got right now some really interesting developments over this season. It's been pretty much a different winner every time we've gone and visited.
Yes, you're exactly right. Welcome everybody to another Friday night Supercars. Normally I'm coming to you, well, the last few rounds I'm coming to you from New Zealand, back in the UK now to come and get closer to Shakespeare, and we are here tonight at Laguna Seca. This is always a track that I've found very difficult, and especially in the supercar, through that section just before the corkscrew. It's yeah, very difficult track to drive in one of these things, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action unfolding tonight.
We certainly will. Qualifying is currently underway, and it's Jackson Sutherland Harlow who has decimated the field so far in qualifying. He's on a 123.8. He is 6/10 clear of Jordan Ross in second position, and to say that fields are normally close, this one certainly isn't at the moment in qualifying, because the top four are split by 1 second at the moment. It is currently Brett Loxton who holds that fourth place position out on track. A lot of drivers looking to try and get some good times in, up and down. Over 50 drivers looking to try and put their names down and get some good times. And right now it's going to be maybe a little bit of a shaking up field. Talk about drivers who are shaking things up. Dominic Ferraris is in 7th position right now here, Fonty, and it has to be said, on a 25-2, he's doing a great job of things.
Yeah, exactly. He's been around for a little bit now, but we're just starting to see some pace come out of him. So I tell you what, though, just seeing someone climb their way up the timesheet, Michael Barron, yeah, he's whacked himself right up there, P3 at the moment. So he shuffled Jack Boyd back and Brett Loxton back as well. So those guys have something coming for them.
They certainly do. Let's get a look, though, at the standings so far in this championship, because they make for some very interesting reading. If you talk about the overall, first and foremost, it's Kyle Stokes who continues to hold control over the field. 2,005 points he holds himself compared to the 1,862 that Marlon McMullen has. But look at how tight those 5 drivers are, 2nd to 6th. McMullen, Taliancic, Boyd, Ross, and Cracknell close. Cracknell not racing, though, here today, Fonty, and as such, he will lose ground in the championship.
Yeah, I saw him post up that he was not feeling too well today, so a little bit disappointing for him, but yeah, still, championship's got a little bit of way to go, so anything can happen.
Anything can, and it normally does, in the words of the legendary Murray Walker. So right now, your top 5 is Sutherland Harlow. Now Brett Loxton on a 24 flat has found some room. Jordan Ross has got himself up into 3rd. Michael Barron and James Scott, the top 5. Jamie Stovald finds himself now in 9th position. Damien Johnstone, I think, has just moved himself up into the top 10. Championship leader. Well, sometimes numbers in Australian sim racing mean a lot. Triple Eight certainly does. Carl Stokes, he's in the 8th position on a 124.8.
Yep, certainly is there. Jamie Stovall, not too bad a pace tonight. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in this race. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action unfold, especially through those opening couple of laps. generally lots of runoff at this track, but yeah, if you do run off, because of the nature of how fast it is, you can find yourself dropping back very, very quickly.
You certainly can. Scotty McQueen in the Briscoe design car, and he's looking to try and have everything possible out of the 063 to push. He's 20th position on a 25.5. Half a second, finds himself in 9th position overall, and he can't find anything. Oh, yes, he can, sorry. 25.1. That came up a little late for me. He's now in 10th.
There we go. Fantastic job by Scotty McQueen. Yeah, pretty cool looking design out there on the car tonight. Scotty Briscoe, reasonably new to get back into iRacing. I actually know Scotty from growing up in the karting days, and it's great to see these real-world races getting into the swing of things on iRacing.
Yeah, and look at Jack Boyd. He's looking to try and finish his lap in the GRM car. He's currently looking at a championship battle, 24.3. He jumps up to 4th position, so the track is starting to get quicker and quicker and quicker, and drivers are understanding this and starting to find some work. Thomas Hinds has moved himself into 13th position right now, and he's having a very good run of things for the moment. Jacob Knight now moves himself into 10th on a 1:25 flat for the moment, but look up and down the field. There are returning drivers that are coming in. We don't often see her too often, but Katie Taranto is looking to try and get a drive, and we'll see what she can do. She's currently in 43rd position at the moment. Another driver to keep an eye on in geodesic colours now. The Genie's returned, Fonty. Gene Fiddis is in 20th.
Oh, yes, the hard case himself. Bit of a joker as our Gene Fiddis. Great to see him out there. P20, so expect him to, well, if he can stay out of trouble, he should do all right tonight, I reckon.
I reckon he could do very, very well, as Jackson Suzlan Harlow will make a push to the line, and we'll see what he'll be able to do. Answer is not much at all at this stage of this qualifying session. Half distance score complete in qualifying. They've only got 10 minutes, and they are allowed, of course, to finish their laps, as Guy Leach is now in 9th position on a 1:24.9. V8 sleuth indeed. 46 is moving.
Yeah, it certainly is. Good to see, though. Michael Barron has, yeah, he's holding ground at the moment, although Marlin's just snapped P5 off him. So there we go. Barron shuffled back 1, but we still do have 10 minutes left in qualifying, or 9 minutes left in qualifying now. So expect to see a few more shuffling around in this order.
Yes, we certainly are expecting to see a few drivers jump up in the late stages. We were talking about how Dominic Ferrari at one stage was inside the top 10. He's now backwards to 18th. He's been leapfrogged by the likes of Greg Sharp and Scott Clark, who have put in some good lap times to put themselves up through. Dave Trevethan does himself a 1:25.7. That moves him up to 34th position then, above of the Redback Racing Team boss Mark Samuels. So that's some good work from him to get a nice little time lap. As we're looking at Jackson Suzlan Harlow looking to finish his lap. He's looking for a bit more of a cushion than 2/10. He set that lap very early in the session, remember, and he almost found an improvement there, Fonty. You're right, 300s off.
Yeah, so I'm just riding on board Brett Loxton, who's currently in 2nd position. He is in the latest stage in the lap, so can he manage to pop Jackson is the next question. We've got just 1 turn to go. Maybe an outlap, our director's saying. We will see. I think you're right. There's definitely an outlap, so he is about to start a lap. He is clear track in front of him. What's it going to bring from, if anything is possible? Brett Loxton can make it possible, and expect this one to be right on the limit.
Of course, Brett Loxton is the reigning champion here in AOSC in both categories, sprint and endurance, so he's got a lot to prove for himself. Nick Cummings hasn't set a lap time representative as of yet, down in 50th position at the moment. He does a 38.1, which is not representative at all, and I think he may be either looking to try and set a good lap, or maybe doing the Jake Maloney challenge and going for a last to first.
Yeah, this will certainly be pretty interesting. Here we go. Jack Boyd has moved up just a spot. He is very close.
I don't think he improved the spot there, Fonty, but he was 2 thousandths away from leapfrogging Jordan Ross, and that must hurt for someone who is looking to find more and more pace. If you only got to find 2 thousandths, that's a difference of about maybe half a tenth of a second, putting the throttle down at one corner at any point of this track.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Now we've got Brett Loxton just coming up to finish that lap. 1 corner to go now. What's he looking like?
What is he looking like indeed? Well, he goes through the final corner very slow, 120-degree left-hander, and he backs out of it and decides, nope, lap time is not for me. Guy Leach tries to get in. He doesn't get a good enough time, but we focus on the 143 of Jordan Ross, the Evolution Racing Team driver, going through this beautiful corkscrew, and he's all over the curb, and I think he's just picked up an off-track incident point, which will mean that he will not go any quicker than he can at the moment. Scott O'Keefe up to 17th. Jamie McKnight's now into 16th position. I've just caught an eye on Matt Morris, who's 13th, and now Stephen Varga up to 9th.
Yeah, there we go. Jacob Knight just jumped a few spots as well. He shuffled Guy Leach back from 11th to 12th. Here we go, Barron. We're hearing Barron. Barron has done it. He's up to P3. Well done to Michael Barron. Fantastic lap there.
Big lap from him, 124.079. They are tumbling at WeatherTech Raceway, and we are seeing now with 6 minutes to go, the hurry up message being given to everyone. Find some time or drop some places. David Kinmond is someone who needs to find a lot of places. He's on 25.777. If he only finds a couple of tenths, he breaks the top 30. So everyone is battling in this very much tight mid-pack at the moment. And to tell you just how tight it is, we're looking at just how many drivers are trying to gain positions. Guy Leach is one of them, coming out of the final corner in the V8 Sleuth car. He's currently down in 12th position. He's tied on times with Jacob Knight. He comes across the line and he improves on a 24.793. That gets him into the top 10.
Yeah, there we go. Great lap there from Guy Leach. Guy's a absolutely fantastic guy. We've seen him around this community for many, many years. And great to see him still out there having a good crack, and he's just moved himself up into the top 10. I must say though, Steve Varga, fantastic job so far, sitting at P9.
Yeah, he's done an absolutely amazing job to get himself into P9. Your top 10 looks like this. Suzanne Harlow, Loxton, Barron, Ross, Boyd, McMullen, Scott, Stokes, Varga, and Guy Leach. Stokes has not been the best qualifier in the world, but where he makes it up is through consistency in his racing, and it has been that consistency factor that has kept him on top of the championship, as we have seen. There are other good drivers who are looking to push in inside the top 25. Brett Gerrard having a very good run for his standards. He's up in 23rd position at the moment with 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, not much time left now. Can Marlon McMullen improve is the next question. He is currently sitting in the pit lane. Is he going to go out and do himself another lap, or is he just happy? Here we go, Brett Loxton. He's about to finish another lap. Can he manage to pip Jackson Suzlin Harlow, who has done a fantastic job? Only one in the 123s at the moment. Can Brett Loxton do it? 1 corner to go.
Oh, it's beautifully aggressive there from Loxton, getting nice and tight on the apex and using all of the curb on the exit too. Across the line, he finds a 23.735. Brett Loxton moves to the top of the timing.
There we go. There we go. Brett Loxton. Expect anything from Brett Loxton. He is a fantastic driver.
And look at Suzlin Harlow now. He's on a lap. He comes through this very difficult left-hander, but he puts a wheel off, and I think that may have just been an off-track incident point, and he's going to pull that one over. He's not got... No, he's going to keep it going. Not got long. 3 minutes to get a time in, and at the timer hitting 0, you have till the end of your lap to complete it, so this becomes massively important. Here's Carl Stokes, though. Little bit of traffic in front of him as he hits the final corner. Big puff of brakes through that final turn 11 corner at WeatherTech Raceway. Laguna, Seca, over the line will come the 888, 124.354. He finds 6th place.
Oh, there we go. Jackson's finishing a lap. Can he do it on this one? No, he has not done it. So he's only got another couple of opportunities to snaffle that P1 back. But yeah, generally front row here, you're pretty comfortable. You can get it either side.
could. You certainly could. And we've seen how difficult racing has been. Michael Barron now starting to try and make a push here as he now gets himself all shapes of outside sideways, heading through turn 10 into 11. And he backs off the lap. And I'm not surprised. He's got 2 minutes to get around this 123 track. So he's got to be out of pit road and gone. PDQ, as here comes Jack G. Boyd in 5th position right now. He's hitting the corkscrew.
Yeah, there we go. Jack is a fantastic driver. Races in real life, does plenty of racing, and we've really seen him come a long way. You know, when he burst back onto the scene, a lot of teams wanted to snaffle him up, and he stayed true with this team for now. Can he improve on this lap, though, is the next question.
That's a horrible final corner, though. He missed the apex by a good 4 feet or so, so that's probably going to hurt his time overall. He does himself a 24.4, but he's got one final chance now to get over the line. 60-second warning coming up. Scotty McQueen's not going to get over the line and get a time in. We know that much as he comes out of pit road. Now the likes of Scott Gamble, Jonathan Ben looking to get out and getting some times. Guy Leach will have one final opportunity as he looks to set a time. He does a 24.761, improves time but not position as he maintains a 9th place at the moment. Look further back again because there's more and more and more who are trying to find a way through. What can Loxton do? Barron has decided he's done. Suzlan Harlow's making his way through turn 4 and now heading up towards 5 and then 6. Brett Loxton will not go any quicker, nor will Jordan Ross, so it's all landing on Jackson Suzlan Harlow. We will concentrate on the Simworks TTL driver making his way up the hill, under the Mothers Bridge, into turn 6, the most difficult corner, I'd say, on this circuit. And he pushed so wide through that corner. I wonder if he's put that off-track instant in or not. He is using all the limits of the track that iRacing is giving to him, into the corkscrew, through the left, down the right, 6 stories, and he now gets all shades of sideways on the depression on the exit. Now through turn number 9, he tries to find. Can he get some time? It's been scruffy, but he is pushing every limit that he has available to him, and he will go down onto pit road. He will not find any improved time. The last drivers now will look to put those times in. Mitchell Bales now looking to go better than 40th position at the moment on a 125.831. What can he be able to do? It looks like a quicker lap time. Is it a quicker lap time? Yes, it is. He does a 25.5. That puts him up into 35th position. We keep looking back if there's anyone who's going to make a charge. Jet Bennett's having a good qualifying by his standards. The triple Ford's in 24th position right now. Over the line comes Jet, and he does a 25.6, but he will not find any more time to improve. Mark Dial will try and get a lap in, so will Matt Lepoidovin and Chris Radich, who will try and get through, but don't count Greg Sharp out of this. 747 is currently in 18th position right now. He's done 13 laps over the course of this qualifying. He will not get another lap in, nor will Tony Gaffer either. So right now only 2 drivers could set times. They are Matthew Deere and Nathan Tregarthen, who are both pushing around that top 30. They are 27th and 30th respectively. Final corner comes along for the pair of them. Can they get anything in the KRF and the Penrite cars? The answer for the moment for Tregarthen as he makes his push to the line should be good for him. Does a 25.6, that's not enough. Matthew Deere does a 25.1, he goes up to 20th position. This is how the grid will stand, though, for the racing at WeatherTech Raceway. Brett Loxton then holds pole position, 123.735 for the reigning champion. Jackson Suzlan Harlow will start alongside him. Michael Barron, welcome return. He starts from 3rd with Jordan Ross in 4th. Jack Boyd starts from 5th with James Scott in 6th. The championship leader Kyle Stokes will go from 7th with Marlon McMullen, his closest challenger, behind him in 8th. Guy Leach and Stephen Varga lock row 5.
There we go. Then we move back to P number 11. We have Scotty McQueen, Jacob Knight in P12, Matty Morris in 13, Thomas Hins, great to see him out there in P14, Jamie Stobbold in 15. Then we have in 16, Damian Johnson in 16, Jamie McKnight 17th, Greg Sharp 18th, Dominic Ferreras 19th, and Matthew Deere 20th.
Brett Gerates in the blackjack position, then Gene Fiddes, Scott O'Keefe and Scott Clark make row 12. Jet Bennett and Tom Curran are on row 13 with Simon Vella and Matthew Clowett. Shane Evans and Nathan Tregarthen will make row 15 as we will cycle on back the rest of the drivers on this grid. A 51-car grid all the way back to Nick Cummings, who did not set a representative lap time. He will push his way through the field and try and get as high up as he possibly can. Look out for the names such as Brenton O'Brien down in 43rd position. He was struggling here today. The likes also, of course, of Mark Samuels starts from 38th, will be trying to make some pushes, as will Troy DeBono in 42nd. But look up to the front of the field, because this is where the big battling is going to be had. Jackson Suzlin-Harlow and Brett Loxton, they have been two of the quickest drivers in a V8 for a number of seasons now, and AOSC has been their proving ground, but now can they do it when the chips are down? They've got some very quick challengers, and of course they got the championship battle with 5 rounds left in the championship to deal with. Jordan Ross's, Jack Boyd's, likes of Kyle Stokes and Marlon McMullen will all want to get in to the action and all want to prove that they can find some big pace as they move on to the final 5 rounds of the championship. So now for Brett Loxton, we've seen what he was able to do. He nabbed second away 1 week ago at Le Mans in the Enduro. What can he do in a sprint format here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca? We are just under 10 seconds away. No, we're not. We're green flag, and we are going. It's a good start from Loxton. Suzlin-Harlow slightly better. We'll try and run the outside. Here's Jack Boyd looking to the inside on the second row. He may be attacking Barron. Barron's left the door open. He had no choice. Barron goes deep, though, on the brakes, and he gets a little bit sideways, though. Loxton holds on, and Suzlin-Harlow now starts to have to defend, but he gets a great run off the exit. They stay too wide. Ross and also Boyd for the championship. Ross looks down the inside now at turn number 3. Can he get the move sorted? You bet he can, Fonzie.
Oh, what a fantastic start. A lot cleaner than I thought. All the cars siphoning through that first couple of turns pretty cleanly. We've got one car dropping back there. That's Matthew Clote, I think. So something's happened to him way back there in 26, but everyone getting through reasonably clean at the start, which I'm quite surprised about. Oh, a little bit of contact back there in the 25th position. But, all in all, pretty good start by everybody. Great start there from Brett Loxton, though. Didn't quite get it off the line as well as he would have liked, but he has managed to hold on to that P1 position so far. Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, though, hanging right on the back there. A little bit of a gap forming between himself and Jordan Ross, and Michael Barron, another driver right up there. He's certainly under pressure there from Jack Boyd and Marlon McMullen.
Good start as well from Stephen Varga. He's got past Kyle Stokes, who has not had a good start at all by his standards. He's behind Scott, he's behind McMullen, and he's probably dropped about 2 positions off of this go-around. So this is going to be a case for drivers now. How consistent do you need to be? There's 2 wide off the exit of the final corner, as well as Jamie Stovall tries to hold off Tom Curran, as well as Cloet holding off Scott O'Keefe on the runs into turn number 1. A big chop off there from Stovall as they get on the brakes, but Curran's trying to go through as Stokes is trying to get through. Greg Sharp with a bit of contact as well, and well, easy for Kyle Stokes. He's found a way through on Stephen Varga. He gets himself a position back. He's now into 8th at the moment, crucial for his championship push.
Yeah, there we go. Nice little pass going on there, but bunch is starting to form. We can see that Kyle is certainly under a lot of pressure there from Stephen Varga. Stephen's come a long way. We're normally not seeing him this far up in the field, but to be sitting P9 early on in the race is certainly a positive thing. We've also got Jamie McKnight out there as well, series sponsor. Big shout out to Jamie for all his efforts in the sim community, and yeah, we're great to see him out on track there tonight. He's currently sitting in P17. Expect to see a top 10 from him later on tonight.
Well, we will see. Of course, there is one mandatory caution that comes out, and every driver has to come in to make a pit stop at some stage as well in his 42-lap event. So don't count your chickens before they've hatched at the moment, as now down on the brakes. I believe that was Matt Morris, I think, going for a move on Scotty McQueen.
Correct.
Wasn't quite able to make that one work, though. It was brave, but you can't fault the effort.
No, you certainly can't. Matt, he was tangled up in an incident on Monday night, so I saw a little bit of backlash from that with one of the other drivers out there, but he's certainly doing a good job out there thus far in the race.
Yeah, he's doing a good job at the moment, but a little bit wide goes Scotty McQueen, and this is only going to allow Matt Morris the chance then to start pushing, starting to be a little bit more aggressive in the way that he tries to make this move. The chance at 5 doesn't happen too often, and he thinks about moving to the inside. He gets in the mirror, but sees no sort of chink in the armour from Scotty McQueen, who does run a little bit wide on the exit. This could compromise their run all the way through 6 and up the hill towards the corkscrew. So just keep an eye on that one as things continue. Michael Barron, though, is under pressure. Jack Boyd is losing time to Jordan Ross in front, and he has to get by. PDQ, it has to be said here, Fonte.
Yeah, you're certainly right. Looking back here in P27, a battle with David Kidman. Oh, just we've been told by our director back on for the lead. So Jackson Susan Harlow has gained some ground on Brett Loxton. Is Brett just playing the cool game, lifting off that throttle a little bit sooner, trying to save some fuel? Or is Jackson just pushing that extra bit harder? They have started to pull a bit bigger of a gap, though, to Jordan Ross.
Oh, mistake.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that was nearly it there for Suzanne Harlow. Loxton just opened up turn 2 a little bit too wide there at the Andretti hairpin. That maybe gave the chance for Suzanne Harlow to be brave, but you can diamond off that corner the way that Loxton did. He holds the position for the moment, but he will know better than anyone else. He's got to be careful as we see something in the background. Yes,
we certainly do. P20, P21, P22. Brett Gerardis, Tom Curran, Jamie Stovall, these guys are certainly going at it. And going into turn 1, we've had a little bit of an altercation. No, everybody's got out of it pretty unscathed, but we've had a bit of a shuffle round in the field. David Kidman also putting a fair bit of pressure on Matthew Clote. And we've also got Jack Boyd. He's right on the back of Michael Barron there in P4. So Jack's driving a pretty cool game at the moment, just putting that pressure on, waiting for Michael to make a mistake.
He is, but he's not finding anything at the moment as your leaders again get very close. Suzanne Harlow diving down to the inside. Can he get it sorted? No, he can't. He's pinched on the apex, and he can't quite find a way through. So Jackson Suzanne Harlow in the Simworks TTL car trying to find a way past the Zuva of Brett Loxton, finding no such luck at the moment. Will he get a chance into the Andretti hairpin? He's very precise on the brakes, and you can see how Loxton just puts it back up and decides, you know what, I can just about hold it for another run through. Down the inside, though, goes Jacob Knight. He's got himself past Stephen Varga. Trouble in the background, though. That's Matt Morris.
Yes, so he's getting shuffled back left, right, and centre. He's now back in P15. We saw him there in P number 7. Not sure if we can get a replay on actually what happened there. But, yeah, not a good lap there for Matt Morris. He needs to regain himself and try and pull himself together, try and get his way back up into that inside the top 10.
He certainly does. Keep an eye on this. The replay then up on your screen at the moment. He gets sideways into 1, tries to hold it together. He's still losing traction of those rear tyres, which are heated up, and the track star car is only going to go backwards from there. John Stone able to go around the outside into 3. There's more trouble.
Yes, there we go. So Scott Clark, he's been tangled up in something there going into turn 1, I believe. And we will catch that on the replay. But, yeah, pretty big incident going on there. A couple of Scots tangled up in that. Doesn't sound very good for me.
It certainly doesn't, mate. But you look at the top 3 as well. You've got Jordan Ross now, who has just joined the train at the front of the field. We have just caught that, my word, not a pretty sight indeed, as Scott Clark loses a lot of time. And there's more contact coming back on the rejoin there, and that's very, very naughty indeed. But for the time being, still seeing some great racing action at the moment, as we still see into turn 1 a fight back may be coming from Stephen Varga. He's got Guy Leach and Thomas Hinds, and Scotty McQueen trying to hold on behind this as well. This, the middle of the pack, fighting for the top 10. Yes, Susan Harlow and Ross certainly is there as we keep an eye on this. Brett Loxton for the moment here going to bring in Jay Kennedy into the conversation as Loxton runs wide. Here's the chance coming. Susan Harlow is going to breeze on by and gets the mistake he wants. Does Loxton come back at the corkscrew? He can't find a way through. Is there contact? There is between them. Loxton's going to save that one, give a redress, and this is allowing Jordan Ross the chance to move down to the inside. He picks up second position. Susan Harlow leads.
That was a little bit messy and a little bit courageous from Loxton to try and get back through, and good move from Jackson Susan Harlow, capitalising on the mistake. Wondering if Brett Loxton hasn't got the car set up right for race conditions, because he has looked like he's struggling in the last 2 laps, doesn't he?
He certainly does. It was a qualifying set that got him banzai to the front, and now he's got to work hard to get himself back into contention. He had to serve the slowdown as well. This will allow Michael Barron a half chance of trying to close in on that draft. He's 1.2 behind, but do not think that it's going to be all nice and dandy. We've still got that competition caution that is going to come in. Matt Morris trying to attack on the brakes again into turn number 1. And he's far too deep. He slams into the rear of Damian Johnstone, who went wide himself. They all hold it nicely, but that was going to leave a nice little dent in the rear as James McKnight tries to get in on this action as well. He's got himself up one position as the lead continues to battle. Here comes Jordan Ross. He's through at turn 5.
Yeah, so Jordan Ross actually got through very easily on Jackson Susan.
Oh my word! Look at it through 4. Just get a replay of this through 4. He tags the dirt to Suzlin Harlow. He gets all Euro beat as he goes sideways and ultimately saves it.
Very, very easy to do
what a
around the circuit
fantastic
too.
battle. Yeah, sorry guys, had to jump out there for a moment. Wow, I certainly missed a fair bit there. We've had a little bit of a change around for the lead, so I'm sure Brett Loxton will come back. He's got
Suzlin Harlow's coming back.
He's just looking. Yeah, I see that there. So these guys battling in front of Brett Loxton there. He's got to be over the moon about that.
Can he find a way through Suzlin Harlow? No, he can't. The top 3 are scrapping it out a little bit too hard at the moment. They're allowing Barron and Boyd and McMullen, Scott and Stokes to come in. Kyle Stokes has gone onto the back of his teammate James Scott, who's there 7th in the championship, 7th on the road at the moment. So we could see multi-21 coming into play. We know there's no team orders though at Evolution Racing Team, but now the top 8, sorry, are split by under 5 seconds out on the road. This is fantastic racing.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic racing. This is what we love about the supercar racing, and especially at the very famous WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. We love it, and it always turns it on. Brett Loxton looks like he wants to get that P1 position back, but Jordan Ross is doing a fantastic job now. Fastest car out on track last I was Brett Loxton, and Suzlin Harlow. There we go. Thomas Hinds has made his way through.
He's made a
well
move.
done to Thomas Hinds. Yep, there we go. P10 for Thomas.
Yeah, he got past Jacob Knight nicely, and now, after dealing with all of this, here comes Guy Leach up the hill, trying to get past Scotty McQueen. McQueen's made his way through. McQueen goes aggressive. He's seen a gap down the inside there of Jacob Knight. Knight can hold the inside line. He keeps it together, but that very nearly was a thief's or a rogue's overtake there, as now all of a sudden Guy Leach tries to get the 46 going through. Battle for the lead, though. Incredibly close at the moment, as now Jackson Suzlin Harlow battles his way back to the front of the pack. He got it at the final corner.
Oh, yes, it's on, isn't it? Here we go. The front 3 have really bunched up, and this is giving the opportunity for Michael Barron, I should say. Whoa! Here we go, Guy Leach. 4 wide. Now, this is dangerous, I tell you what. We got 3 wide just behind them. There we go. Great move there from Brett Sharp. Right up the inside. Well done. And a little bit of a battle up in front then between Fitties and McKnight. Oh, side-by-side action for these 2 guys.
Oh, that was all caused by contact. Matt Morris got away. They were 4 wide off the exit of the final corner. They have sorted themselves out, or have they? Because contact for Damian Johnstone means that Matthew Deere drops a couple of positions. Stovall trying to get in on this. It's got messy all of a sudden on lap 9 here of this event at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, but it's certainly not over and done with. Suzlin Harlow trying to break away from Jordan Ross, because now Brett Loxton is starting to get noisy, starting to get aggressive here, as Jordan Ross has struggled over the last couple of corners, in which he has just managed to lose contact maybe by 7, 8, 9 tenths of a second at the moment to your race leader, as the battling continues up and down this field. Look at Thomas Hinds now. He's all over Stephen Barger, looking down to the inside. John Stone's in his own little bit of issues as well. Fonty, I don't know what to make anymore.
Oh, I tell you what, this race is turning it on. You can't keep up with all the action. It's everywhere. We have nearly, 50 cars on the grid today, and everyone's going at it. Replay currently on screen.
This is Damian Johnstone, and he just loses it on his own off of the exit. So easy to do with that depression that there is on that exit of the carousel. It really does challenge the suspension. If you can't get the suspension sorted, you are around. So that's not ideal, but it's what he has to do. Michael Barron, though, runs a little bit wide, a lot bit wide, actually, coming off of the exit of turn 5, sorry. This is going to allow Barron in as Thomas Hinz starts to get aggressive here against Stephen Varga. Cannot find a way through. Maybe a shot up at 6 and up towards Carousel. No, and there's big...
Big crash. I think that's Guy Leach. Guy Leach is gone. That was massive between those two guys. Greg Sharp was involved in that. I just saw a car sideways being pushed down the track.
Well, let's get a LeBlanc replay up on your screen for you. This is Guy Leach in the V8 Sleuth Esports machine. Heads himself through turn number 3. This will happen at 5, so we'll stay with this one then. Heads himself under the Cooper Tires bridge into turn number 4, trying to get past that Penrite car just in front. And there is a slow McKnight there as they head through that section. They go 3 wide through, and oh, you have to say that's the 747, just trying to shut down the line. Did not get the 3 wide call, and Guy Leach, an instant bystander. You have to put it on the 747.
Yeah, you certainly do. Unfortunately, their guy is a very, very clean driver, so he will be pretty disappointed with that one. But still plenty of racing to go to make his way up. This battle has not slowed down up the front, though, but Brett Loxton has Jordan Ross has managed to pull a slight gap as we are seeing Greg Sharp make a move to get past Matthew Clote. Oh, Clote actually having a bit of a moment there on the exit of turn number 1.
We are also looking at this battle going on, though, as Thomas Hinz was trying to get too wide, wasn't quite able to get that working at the moment. Up the hill to turn 6 he comes. Stephen Varga has been stalwart in his defence against Thomas Hinz and Jacob Knight and Scotty McQueen as well. Has only lost the 1 position in this event after gaining 2 off the start. That was to Kyle Stokes, who has checked out over the course of this one as Scott Clark gets ceremoniously moved to the outside as Brett Loxton makes a way through on the brakes into the final corner. No move there on Jordan Ross, but look at Jack Boyd now starting to get a little bit aggressive. He has to, because Marlon McMullen is sitting patiently behind thinking about how he makes this move. Talk about those who's checked out. All of a sudden, gap at the front is 2.3 for Suzlin Harlow.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job there as Suzlin Harlow really opened up that gap now, and Brett Loxton potentially has burnt out a bit of that Dunlop rubber trying to get past Jordan Ross because they are both struggling in pace. Suzlin Harlow nearly a second faster than both of them on that last lap by. Second fastest car on track at the moment. Kyle Stokes actually 25.5, 125.5. And then the next fastest after that would be Jack Boyd at a 25.6. So expect those guys potentially to come back through once we see that safety car period unfold.
Well, talk about someone else who's really quick right now. It's Matt Morris. He also did a 25.5 that last time by, but Scotty McQueen just in front is harassing the rear of Jacob Knight's car, and I'm not sure that Knight is going to be in a best place. The Exto Gaming car trying to find a way to defend on the brakes at the corkscrew and not quite able to make that one work. There is Scotty McQueen happy to stay in line because there is Hinzy, there is Varga just in front of that as they are all starting to think about this one big S word here today, Fonzie, and that is now strategy here on lap 13.
Oh, yeah, strategy always plays a big part in supercar racing. And, yeah, we're at that point in the race now, lap 13. Oh, there we go. Bit of a mistake for Ross. Is this going to open it up? Can he make the move on the outside? He's going to try. No, he's not going to be able to get it done. So now that has opened up that gap a little bit further there for Jackson, Suzlin Harlow. But can Brett Loxton take advantage of that mistake and make an opportunity here? Doesn't look like it at this stage.
No, not just yet, but up the hill through 6, you need a brilliant run here, and it gives you the chance at the corkscrew. But you can see just how more aggressive there Brett Loxton was. He took a tighter line through the corner. Now he's going to pick up the draft in over 200 kilometers an hour, trying to slam on the brakes, and he does not find a road to go down to make that one go. It was a complete dead end, and Jordan Ross is defending hand over fist, and if his heart was on his sleeve.
Yeah, there we go. That's absolutely true. It's what a fantastic little battle we've got going on here. Another very, very close battle on track is Matt Morris and Scotty McQueen. These guys going at it. We saw Matt Morris have a little bit of a moment a few laps ago. He's trying to make ground back again. Then also Jack Boyd. I thought that Jack may have been able to get past Michael Barron, but he
may now. That's a mistake through one, and Barron can't get the power down, and Jack Boyd on cue. Well, Fonty, I believe you've just cursed Michael Barron. He's lost the position. And rightfully, Jay, there's silence.
I'll jump back in again. Fonty's had to step out again for a moment. That was a good move from Boyd, but yeah, commentator's curse there for Barron. It was just a matter of time, though. You could see that he was starting to check that field up. Would have been feeling the pressure big time, but now it's got Marlon McMullen tucked in under that rear wing. He's going to feel even more pressure now because Marlon has a very big presence about him when he's tucked under your rear wing.
Oh, he certainly does. And now look at McMullen trying to move to the outside, try and get it to work, but he hits the brakes earlier and he eases onto it, so he doesn't quite get that move the way that he maybe would have wanted to at that point on track. So he's still trying to focus here as he makes his way through the next section. Now looking here at Thomas Hinds trying to get really, really aggressive here. Can he get anything working for the moment? No, he cannot. So just keep an eye on this one as this one continues to be some great racing up and down the field. But if I've just had an eye on it, I believe Marlon McMullen has just had the issue of the technical variety here. Disaster for the championship.
Yeah, that's going to really hurt his championship. Actually just come back out on the circuit now, so his tech issues may be sorted, but still having a few gremlins creep in. Never a good sign when you disappear off the circuit for a little while, but he's rejoined and he's maintained his position, but will lose a bit of ground to Michael Barron. That battle will continue though, because he'll close that gap up fairly quickly, but James Scott and Kyle Stokes both look very, very racing right now as well. They'll try and get past McMullen because that could change how the remainder of this championship plays out.
You have to remember that gap between Boyd and McMullen in the championship at this stage, because when they came into this one, Boyd and McMullen were split by just 29 points overall. Taliancic was third, but he's not here racing, so that's something just to keep in mind. So this is effectively second and third in the championship, having their own scraps. And let's not forget Jordan Ross as well over the course of the championship. He started the day a good 63 points behind Marlon McMullen. He'll gain a fair bit at the moment, being in second, 3.5 seconds behind Susan Harlow. Look at Thomas Hinds though, trying at turn 9. You don't often see him there, but he certainly has the run on Varga, who seemingly has just met his match.
Yes, it's a good little battle between these two. We just saw two. Jordan Ross is the first to jump. He's dived into the pits very early. McQueen in the background into the pits. Here comes Hinds. He's going to get the move done, is he? And Jacob Knight's in this too.
This could be 3 wide into wide, and we've seen 4 wide down the straight, but Varga now is starting to lose out. And how aggressive will Jacob Knight be? Does he send one deep? And look at this on the brakes. Varga is the bravest as he tries to run the outside. Still, they go through 3 wide on the exit. Tap though for Thomas Hinds. Round he goes, and he'll drop a number of positions. And Jacob Knight maybe was searching for something and being a little bit too eager to try and get involved in the fight.
Yeah, that was a little bit messy there in the end. And Hinds, the innocent bystander of that, he'll come back. And you won't be too happy about how that's played out, but he will make his way back through the field. Drop back to 14th, just behind Jamie Stovall, and we saw how racy that pack was. I don't think Hinds will mind being in a little bit of a battle, but he'll be disappointed to have lost so many spots.
And this is going to be very, very key. Now, keep an eye out on who is next up in the lapping process for Jackson Suzlan Harlow. It is a certain Mr. Brenton O'Brien, and this is going to be very, very key, because if Suzlan Harlow is going to struggle about lapping, he knows that Jordan Ross is probably his closest rival out there. That's the team boss of Evolution Racing Team just in front. This may be a little bit difficult to get by, and you can see there is no pull over and let yourself by. It is a very quick, you're going to have to get down my inside, and just like that, down my inside he goes, and like that, Suzlan Harlow makes quick work of it all. Very aggressive on the exit there was Brenton O'Brien. That could have very easily ended very, very differently, as McMullen uses all of the track and a bit more. He's looking for a way past the Baron.
Yeah, and side by side, just behind Jacob Knight and Matt Morris, as Stephen Varga removed himself out of that battle with a pit stop. Morris still hugging the outside. He was side by side through the final corner. He's not going to be able to get the job done. I must say, I do love the new paint on the EXG Motorsport entries. They look very, very cool with the NatRad sponsorship on them.
And Thomas Hinge trying to get past Jamie Stovall, the former New Zealand sim racing driver. Around the outside of 3, he tries, but he's got no momentum on the exit to go through 4. But if he can get a good run through 4 here, and he picks it up beautifully on the exit, here's the chance at turn number 5 maybe coming along. They're both behind the Genie, who is up 12 positions so far in the middle of this pit stop window. Down the inside goes Hinsey, and Hinsey's stolen a position.
Yeah, good move in the end there from Thomas Hinge. Just set Stovall up from the previous corner. Did a very, very good job getting that move done. So well done to Thomas Hinz, back up into 11th. It's a little bit to go to get back where he was, but safety car will bring them back together. So that'll be interesting to see when it comes.
Stovall's getting close, and he very nearly, I think he even did tap Hinz on the brakes up into the corkscrew. So gotta be careful about that. Could have ended in disaster. Kyle Stokes, though, championship leader, dives down onto pit road.
It probably was feeling like it was getting held up a little bit by James Scott. He was trying to get through, but wasn't able to get any move done. So jump in the pit's not a bad ploy at this point. Almost halfway through the race. The pit window will run till about lap 27. So not a very big window at this circuit tonight. So only about 11 or 12 laps. So we'll see a fair bit of changes. I just saw Gene Fitties did miss his pit box in his pit entry, so he's going to lose a bit of ground too.
Oh, and that's the last thing you want. You move to asphalt to concrete in American racetracks, so you have to make sure that you get that one correct. As I see for about the 3rd time, Chris Radich move himself out of pit road. It has not been a day that he has been looking to try and get. And let's not forget as well here today, Jay, as we just see a moment happen out on our screens, that if a caution comes in the middle of the pit stop window, it's trouble.
Yeah, it is. Just as you said there, with Chris Radicic coming out of the pits, actually held up Kyle Stokes and probably cost Stokes maybe 1 or 2 seconds on pit exit. So that will hurt Stokes. That is one consideration, because that first corner, the final corner of the pit exit, is very, very tough as McMullen comes in. If you've got a car that isn't as quick as you ahead of you, you can't pass. That will lose you a whole heap of momentum and time, as here comes Matt Morris to look and make a move. Still can't get it done.
Yes. No, he's looking and looking and looking at Jacob Knight has been the equal, and he decides, Jacob Knight, I'm done battling you, Matt. You can have your position. I'll have my pit road. So Jacob Knight decides he also wants to come down and make a stop out on track at the moment as Guy Leach leads pit road. This leaves this race a little bit more open. It's still Jackson Susland-Harlow who leads this one outright here on lap 19 of the event, but he's not covering off a certain Mr. That's Jordan Ross, who's trying to make a way through. He's in 24th position at the moment, is Ross.
That's a really long stop.
Stephen Varga has jumped him in the stop, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just looking at the pit stop time, 34-second stop. I have a feeling that Jordan Ross got a speeding and pit lane penalty because he's come out behind Varga, behind McMullen, and behind Stokes. Kyle Stokes has actually jumped Marlon McMullen.
That's a big, big thing in the stops, and straight down the inside, Jordan Ross gets the position.
Oh, no!
Gets a tap. He goes spread eagle across the pit exit, and he manages to save it together, and this will only allow Jacob Knight to pick up the position through, and Ross is not happy, and he's over the voice.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he won't be too happy with Stephen Varga and how that played out. On board here with Varga, Jordan Ross couldn't really move over to let leave enough room there for Varga, because he had that other car on the outside, the Stealth Simforce car, as James Scott comes into the pits. It's going to be a little bit of heated discussion after this race. You can feel it already at this stage.
You certainly can. It has been action-packed at a drome that has been one of the best places to see racing action. We're still waiting on 4 of your big drivers to come in. Jackson Susland-Harlow, Brett Loxton, Jack Boyd and Michael Barron have all yet to come in, as has Matt Morris, but the battling is down the pack at the moment, and it sits around Jacob Knight's shoulders here as he looks to try and get away past Mark Samuel, his former team boss, and they didn't leave on good circumstances between them, so no love lost here. I think there'll be a little bit of a hold-up game. This is for position, mind you, I do believe, is it? No, it's not. So this for Mark Samuel, actually no, it is for position. This is going to be a case of I'm going to try and hold my own against you. Look behind, Scotty McQueen and Jordan Ross going at it. This for position on the road as well, as they are going to go no Ozark into turn number 1. Both of them get on the brakes, and both on the inside take positions.
And Stephen Varga just behind as well. Welcome back, Fonzie.
There we go.
Joining us back.
I'm back. Sorry, guys. Had to step away there. Yes, what a fantastic little battle there between Mark Samuel and Jacob Knight. There we go, as we see Jackson Susan Harlow.
Yes, he comes down.
Lane.
And yes, there is Jack Boyd in as we take a look at Matthew Clowett at the moment in the 51. Oh, he's getting close. He's getting dicey. He's going to be shoved out 2 positions. McMullen trying to get past Kyle Stokes. Vital in terms of the championship. Sideways goes Stokes on the brakes.
Whoa.
And McMullen gives him the room and he couldn't get the position.
Oh, what a fantastic little battle there. That's such a difficult part of the track, and everyone got through it pretty cleanly. McMullen, though, looks pretty racy at the moment. He's all over the back of Kyle Stokes there. These two guys normally go at it pretty hard together. Expect to see some battles unfolding. We've just had a car pop into the pit lane there. That would be Rob Harris as he trundles his way down the lane. Now we're seeing a bit of movement there. Matt Morris also in the lane as well.
Oh, 3 wide onto the brakes is the final corner. Scotty McQueen gets 2 for 1. Varga is pushed out, hung out to dry, and Jamie McKnight will steal one from Jordan Ross. This is Mark Samuel, who is being the biggest cork in the proverbial wine bottle that is this circuit. And now Jordan Ross has gone straight on at turn 1.
Gee, that was not what Jordan Ross wanted there. He pitted before the other guys to try and get an advantage. And all that advantage is gone out the window. We are still yet to see the safety car roll out. Tony Gaffer, we're hearing, has gone around.
Yeah, and that's not good for the 34 as we get a replay of this one brought to you by LeBlanc. And, well, we'll see what's happened to Tony Gaffer as the battling continues in the pack with Mark Samuel. So Gaffer making his way towards turn number 2, the Andretti hairpin. This is the kink of 1. And, well, you can see there's a geodesic car just behind. And, no, he loses it on his own. He locks up the rear axle and he parks it on the apex. And I think there is something like the brakes being jammed on.
Yeah, I think you're right there, mate. It's, yeah, certainly a bit unfortunate there, but still battles going all on over the place. This battle between McMullen and Kyle Stokes is still turning it on, and they're pulling it in on Jack Boyd now, I believe.
They've all jumped Barron. Barron's coming out of pit road right now, and they're jumping it. McMullen runs a little bit wide, so Stokes is right in this on strategy, and now it's the battle with James Scott coming off of the lane. Scott's going to take the position, so Michael Barron drops even more positions, ones that he didn't want to see go away. So Jackson Susan Harlow now only has 1 real rival at the moment, and he currently finds himself diving onto pit road right now. It's Brett Loxton in the 209. He makes his way onto pit road, the race leader.
Yeah, I was wondering when Brett was going to make his way down. His last lap was still pretty fast, though. Second fastest car on track. Fastest car on track last lap by Marlon McMullen with a 125.3. Then next goes to Kyle Stokes. Then next would have been Brett Loxton, but we've seen him go down the lane now. So has Brett gained an advantage from staying out? We're only going to see in a few corners' time. He is still stationary as Susan Harlow comes onto the straight. He's going to move past him. So Brett Loxton has really lost a lot of ground from pitting late. And Susan Harlow, he's going to have around about 4 or 5 seconds, I think.
But there is a caution to come, and with almost everyone diving down onto the lane, there's not going to be much to be said. It's all going to bunch up for the finish. When that caution comes out, we don't know. We are just over the halfway stage, and Brett Loxton currently finds himself now in 2nd position overall, and he'll be wondering as he looks, well, where's Jordan Ross gone? The answer is straight nowhere, as this race has taken a turn for many different directions. As right now, I'd put Jack Boyd as now net podium at this stage, as a lot of drivers try and find their footing in this stage. Look at Jamie McKnight, though. Here's Varga, here's Ross. Jordan Ross bit between the teeth. And he is holding him up, is McKnight, because he wants to see Jordan Ross go by Stephen Varga, PD and Q.
Yes, he certainly does. Teammates work together to try and make this happen, but Stephen Varga doing a fantastic job. We've rarely seen Stephen come on in recent months, and yeah, doing a fantastic job, even just to hold up the likes of Jordan Ross, who we have seen win these races before. We've seen him win Monday night races. We've seen him get very close in V8 Scops races. And yeah, a bit unfortunate there that he got tangled up going into turn 1. But yeah, with the safety car still yet to come out, we can see great things happen from Jordan Ross. We have seen it in the past, and we can see it in the future. A bit of a bump there from Jordan Ross. Can he take advantage out of this next corner? Generally a pretty good passing opportunity. He's going to look not happening. Maybe into the last turn. Is he going to get the run out? Holden versus Ford. Is he going to show his nose? He is going to show his nose. He's going to get the job done. Stephen Varga's going to let it happen. He sort of nowhere to go.
No love on the exit either there. He pretty much shut the door down on Stephen Varga, who had nowhere to go off exit. So Jordan Ross picks up one, which he'll be very happy that he has. As right now, one driver who's yet to come in as we got ourselves a little bit of trouble. That's Nathan Tregarthen on the front stretch. So the Stealth Simforce car, got to be careful on the way he turns around. LeBlanc replayed it up on screen on this instant coming out of the final corner. And while he gets himself through turn 11, he was in that battle as down to the inside. Didn't quite catch who that was. It's a LeBlanc car. It's Tom Curran in the 911. And he just loses it on the exit. Bang into the side and bang, goodbye and around. Tregarthen has only himself to blame.
Yes, he certainly does. What a fantastic little battle there. But yeah, a little bit disappointing for those guys. So I'm sure we will see with the safety car coming up very soon. I reckon in a couple of laps it's all going to kick off. And then watch the finish unfold. We're going to see a great finish. Brett Loxton.
Caution!
Oh, there we go. As I say it, safety car comes out. We're going to see them all bunch up. And it's going to be on for the end of the race.
Well, someone who's just come down onto pit road is Brett Gerards, who went longer than anybody else. Someone else maybe thinking of coming in would have been Matt Lepoidovin, maybe even Matthew Clowett as well, has yet to come down and make them their stops. They will have to do it now, and they will be the ones who will be caught out and dropped to the back of the pack if they decide to pit. Either way, they have been caught out by this caution, which has come right at the end of the pit stop window. Most drivers had come down and made their stops. So for Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, he has lost all that advantage that he built up. It was 7 seconds, and now there is only one vehicle in between, and that, of course, is the 186 belonging to Darren Goosey, who is one lap down. The caution comes, lap 24 of 42. We are 19 at the moment from the end of this event, 18 over the line.
Oh, I tell you what do you reckon the driver's heart rate's going to be doing right now? There, Jake, it's going to be pretty interesting. I reckon Brett Loxton, he's in a pretty good position, although he came out the pit lane with a fair-old gap to Suzlin-Harlow. He's got the freshest tyres out of those two guys, out of Jack Boyd and Kyle Stokes, so expect to see great things from him in the coming laps once we go green again. Tell you what, this final, what are we, 16 laps is going to be really, really interesting.
It certainly is, and well, for these next laps that come along, it's going to be a case now as they pull up behind the iRacing Porsche first safety car. They're now going to have to be really aggressive in the way that they drive these final few laps. Someone like Jackson Suzlin-Harlow loses on the tyre advantage. This is Brett Loxton's. Those who pitted a little bit later are gaining that advantage now to the end of this one. There are drivers out here who are looking to try and make those pushes back through the field. One to look out for, someone who's struggled so far today, Michael Barron. He was one of the later drivers to pit in. He could really come back in the final stages here, Fonte.
Yeah, well, he certainly could. It's a name I haven't really seen too much of, to be honest. Pretty new to my knowledge. But, yeah, what a fantastic job he did in those opening stages of the race, was really holding up Jack Boyd there. So if he gets a good restart, stays out of trouble, we can expect to see him potentially get on the podium if it all works out for him. You can't put out, though, Marlon McMullen. We saw him be the fastest car on track at stages in this race. So... yeah, Marlon is one who is there or thereabouts. We haven't really seen him win too many races in this AOSC in recent times, but yeah, he certainly can do it on a good day.
And talking about those on a good day, it's not a good day for the front three unless you're Jackson Sussland Harlow. Harlow has one vehicle in between himself and Darren Goosey and and Brett Loxton, which is Darren Goosey. Loxton's got one vehicle between himself and Jack Boyd, and that is Katie Taranto, and she will be just a little bit of a nuisance come the restart as and when it happens. We are predicting next lap we should be going green again, but now these drivers know, okay, there's a little bit of traffic, like some Mark Dial as well, in the middle of the pack, but drivers coming in, Stovold, Lepoidovin, also in will come Matthew Clowett, who needed to make his stop. So now the drivers who needed to make those fuel stops decide, okay, now we have to, under caution, and we're going to drop miles back.
Yeah, certainly are going to drop miles back. I reckon that those cars in between Loxton and Harlow and Boyd, it would be wise for them probably just to jump out of the way as quickly as they can. And it's a shame we don't have indicators on these cars, because I think that they should implement that at some stage. It would certainly help restarts in this particular situation. We have seen it in the past where lap cars have come together. I remember last year on our, I think it was the second round that we had when myself and Jay were commentating, we saw, who was it? It was Dane Warren come together with a lapped car, and he went from being 0 to 0 very, very quickly. So will we see the same today? I don't think so, but hey, anything can happen, and it always does.
And talk about drivers who we haven't paid much attention to. Number 13, Nick Cummings, is in 19th after starting this one in dead last. We said he'd probably be thinking about doing the Jake Maloney strategy race and see how far he can push up through the field. Well, he's proving as much. He's now 19th behind David Kinman, and I would not be surprised to see a top 15 finish, if not a little bit more, out of Nick Cummings at this stage. Jay.
I'll come back in again. Yeah, good job from Nick Cummings to work through the field. It's not easy to pass here. We've seen some ambitious moves to get through. So to gain so many spots, 32 positions, it's a pretty impressive effort. So well done to Nick Cummings as we're about to get ready to go.
Yes, lights off on top of the Porsche for safety car. And now we are going to see it dive down left. Jackson Sussland Harlow has one vehicle's advantage. He will decide when to go, and someone who's got to be alert to this is Brett Loxton. He's got to get past Goosey as quickly as possible, and it's going to be a little late, but they're going to go, and there's a little bit of a hold up. Check up there as Fonty joins us once again. Kyle Stokes struggled off the start, but it's a great start coming along for Jackson Sussland Harlow. The advantage he needs. Darren Goosey's going to have to pull out of the way here for Brett Loxton. He does, as now down the inside. Maybe they look into turn number one. Nobody making moves. Someone goes incredibly deep there from about 8th position. That was Jacob Knight, and his battle with Matt Morris continues.
There we go. It certainly does continue, and these guys, no love lost between them. We're seeing all these lap cars are really getting in the way for these guys up the front, and this has given all the advantage there to Sussland Harlow. Oh!
Trying it 3 wide, couldn't quite make that one work as Jacob Knight loses out still to Matt Morris as this one continues to battle off on the restart. Jackson Sussland Harlow's clear, and he's got the second that he was hoping for, but the middle of the pack now starts to get into play. Marlon McMullen now trying to chase down Kyle Stokes and Jack Boyd. Kyle Stokes has done wonders to keep his championship in great nick as he now finds himself just one position behind, as Jordan Ross all of a sudden now finds himself miles down the order. Yeah,
there we go, in P12 for Jordan Ross there, and he's being held up there by that slower car on the outside. A little bit damaged is that Ford Falcon of Jordan Ross, and Jamie McKnight just in front of him. Then we got another slower car. They are doing a good job at staying out the way though, so well done to those guys. Jamie McKnight will certainly, I would think, let Jordan Ross go past. No team orders, however, once that happens. Oh, here we go, 3 wides. Behind those guys. Oh.
And Taranto's going to go straight on, and this is with lap traffic as well. Darren Goosey's got to get out of the way. The LeBlanc car can't do much because Nick Cummings is threading the needle, and that's some experience to trust in the 2 drivers left and right. There's one more as he goes up into 17th position. Nick Cummings, take a bow, son.
Yeah, fantastic job. P17 started all the way back in dead last, and fantastic job so far. That car's in pretty good nick as well. Not too many scratches on it, and well, maybe expect him to even see a top 10 if things work out for him right.
Well, we'll see a top 10 potentially, but now it's going to have to be about how good can you drive between now and the end. This pack all forming single file, all looking to just try and get a one position here and there. LeBlanc replay coming up for you on your screen, and this is what happened with Nick Cummings as we're just taking a look at Shane Rayner, of Gone Rogue Motorsport. He just pulled it over and said, nope, day done. Not going to find anything better than that today. But gap at the front is up to 1.6 seconds. Suslan Harlow has got the pace on the field, even with slightly older tyres, but it's the battle for third where it's at. Kyle Stokes all over Jack Boyd, looking to even gain in terms of his rivals in the championship.
Yeah, there you go, Jackson. Suslan Harlow, fastest lap of the race, last lap by a 1:23.9, the only one in the 1:23s at the stage. Sorry, no, Brett Loxton was in the 1:23s, but not quite as fast. So Loxton losing a little bit of ground, but just seems slightly catching up. So expect these two guys to really go at it. Jack Boyd, though, the gap between those two guys is getting pretty big, and Kyle Stokes putting a lot of pressure on Jack. Marlon has dropped. No, he hasn't quite dropped back. He is hanging on. So between 8th to 4th, they are all pretty close. Only about 2 seconds separating that bunch of guys.
Look as well at Thomas Hinds. He's trying to find a way past Jamie McKnight in the middle of the pack. Behind that, though, there is a Genie trying to find a way past Stephen Varga, who has been hit from pillar to post all race long. And now the Geodesic car will try and find a chance to move up into 14th position. Not quite finding anything, but look behind. Nick Cummings has found a way through Matthew Deere, and he's now up into 16th place, and he's looking at a top 15 in just a couple of moments' time.
There we go. Jordan Ross, he is making his way through with his damaged up car up to P number 11. Don't know if he's got what it takes to get up to the podium, but I certainly expect maybe potentially we could see him get up to maybe a top 6, but yeah, disappointing for Jordan. If he hadn't have fighted off at the end of the straight there, maybe would have seen him in a different position. But yeah, great racing all round at this WeatherTech Laguna Raceway. It's really awesome track, and yeah, what a great place for V8 Supercars to come and race.
Yep, certainly has been. Now, for the moment, though, Jack Boyd still holding off third position. He will gain marginally on Kyle Stokes, but not by much. McMullen needs to find a way through if he's to continue closing down that gap. Slide a little, almost like a pivot turn there from Kyle Stokes into the corkscrew, and it's really helped him a lot. He looked maybe a half chance down to the inside, contrasting lines through turn number 9, through the Sheen curve into 10, and for the time being at least, they're going to stay line astern. But look who's joining the back of this group now. It will be Matt Morris in a second. So now Matt Morris is thinking, well, top 5 seems possible, and we know how good he likes to battle.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm pretty sure he would be happy if he could manage to get himself into a top 5. Don't think we've seen him get a podium, but yeah, certainly come a long way has Matt Morris. Puts in a lot of hours practice and done a lot of racing, and yeah, top 5 would be pretty great for him, I reckon.
Oh, and Thomas Hinds had a look on the outside of Jamie McKnight, was not going to get it as he tried to make the move. It didn't work. Behind that, though, Nick Cummings has caught the group of Fittис and Varga, and we know how good Stephen Varga's been on defense. We know how good his team boss has been on defense. Now the question is, how good's Nick Cummings on offense? Well, if you've seen the positions he's made, you'd know.
Yeah, you're certainly right. He's moved his way right up the field. He's currently sitting in P16, so phenomenal effort. And yeah, good little battle there going on between himself. 4th position though, it is on for 4th position. Marlon McMullen is all over the back of Kyle Stokes.
But it's just coming out of that corkscrew where Kyle Stokes is finding his time. and is able to pull away from McMullen. McMullen's got to find a different way now of making this move happen, and ultimately, nothing is working right now. Michael Barron just behind as well. He's trying to find a way past James Scott. He's not in position just yet. He's just got to hope that something crops up in the final 10 laps of this event. 10 to go. Gap at the front is extended now to 2.1 seconds for Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, and he can now afford a 2/10 loss every single lap and still hold on to win this race. But for the time being, it is Kyle Stokes who is the man under pressure. He's either got to be aggressive or defensive, and either or at the moment, seemingly not working out, as now Jordan Ross has caught Scotty McQueen in the battle for the final spot inside the top 10.
Yeah, you're certainly right. This last spot for the podium, it's getting pretty hot and heavy. If Kyle Stokes can manage to keep it out of trouble and keep Marlon McMullen at bay, then, you know, certainly he can take it to Jack Boyd, but Jack will not make it easy. That's
well, we know that much, and Jack Boyd maybe is starting to pull away from Kyle Stokes in the Triple Eight. Remember, he was one of the very first who came down and pitted, was that Triple Eight car, so he's got to be on some of the oldest tyres in this field, and this is a brilliant job by the championship leader to hold himself in position. He's not been a driver to win many races. He's been the driver of consistency, top fives all the time. That's what's got him the lead of this championship. He built the gap early, and he has maintained it over rivals who have continuously made mistakes time and time again. No more so than 143 in 11th position. Jordan Ross will be feeling like he has lost an opportunity here today to make something happen. Looking to turn number one. Nothing coming, but if McMullen's going to try and make a move, it will be through this part of the section. Either that, or he's been really strong up the hill and will have to do it at the corkscrew.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Jake. Yeah, these three guys, they have advantages in different parts of the track, so if one of them can make it work slightly better than the other, then they've got every bit of shot, but I reckon we will see those moves happen eventually in the last lap.
As we see a little bit of side-by-side, it's David Kidman who's going to, give a bump to Simon Vella, who makes his way through. Good work as Guy Leach now on the recovery. He's got past Scott Gamble. He's got Jamie Stovall behind as well, who pitted and is on the freshest tyres of the field right now. So for the moment, Guy Leach under pressure. He's got to get past Kidman and Vella, and then Greg Sharp, who he had that contact with.
Yeah. Go. We're hearing something's happened to Damian Johnson. We're just going to catch a replay on that. Greg Sharp, though, yes, just touching on that there, Jake. He's you normally see him up inside that top 10, but do you know he does find himself getting involved in a little bit of drama here and there. So certainly not the result that he wanted.
Oh, and that's a big broken car for Damian Johnstone, and that's not pretty, no matter how you put it, as the racing continues here with just 8 laps to go at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. What can Jack Boyd do to fend off Kyle Stokes? Because at the moment, Kyle Stokes has found a bit of wind in his sails. He gained fractionally over that last lap and has kept that gap within 0.4 of a second. McMullen is dropping back, though, into the clutches of Barron and Scott. Disaster in terms of trying to salvage as many points as possible. Off the track is Nathan Tregarthen. There's a bit of lap traffic for Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, who has pulled the gap now to 2.5 seconds at the front of this field. But all of a sudden, moves are now becoming very hard to come by up and down this field.
Yeah, well, that Dunlop rubble will be starting to wear out, and it all depends on who's looked after it, who thrashed it during the restart. Oh, seeing a little bit of a incident there. Guy Leach, I think. Yes, Guy Leach, he just lost it off the track. There we go. Nick Cummings, he's moved up to P15, I should say, but side-by-side action going on here. Oh.
Varga's going to hold on, up and under coming. Almost a bit of contact. No room on the exit. No, you've got to find a different way, Nick, if you want to get yourself a way through. Now we'll have to go to the outside to try and make it work. This is going to be a brave attempt. Gene Finnis is so late on the brakes. He almost takes the rear out there of Nick Cummings as he starts to get aggressive now, getting all up in the draft, and he's finding some stern resilience right now from Stephen Varga. This is what the Redback drivers do. They fight to the bitter end. They're like samurai warriors as they head themselves into turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, and Varga retains.
There we go. Fantastic battles going on here. Nice clean racing, and yeah, these guys showing a bit of respect for each other out on track, which is great to see. But we've also got Gene Fiddies. He wants to take advantage of this at the same time. Can he do it is the next big question.
Well, we've seen how he was struggling to get past Varga himself, so the geodesic car needs to find a way through, hasn't been able to do so, and I wonder if he will have that chance. They are allowing Matthew Deere a half look at getting back in, but we will see if that one will develop in the future. No changes of position up and down the field in front of them. This is the big battle, though, that we are focusing on for the moment. No chance into the carousel, but is there a chance off the exit? Nick Cummings has got to be pretty much precise in the way that he deals with Varga. He can't go out there one-ton making overtakes or making efforts to. He's got to make sure that it is the perfect move to make it happen. Through turn 10, now looking to turn 11, not close enough this time to send one.
Oh, I tell you what, this you'd expect the move to be made. They weren't teammates, then maybe things might be different, but yeah, fantastic racing here, I must say. Matt Morris doing a pretty good job to move his way back up to P number 8, so got to be happy with that. This battle between Kyle Stokes and Jack Boyd is still not over. Kyle Stokes putting a fair bit of pressure on. He has dropped Marlon McMullen a little bit now. The gap between those two is at a second, and James Scott putting a fair bit of pressure on Marlon. Now, we can pretty much say goodbye to Jackson Souza and Harlow, though. He's got a 3.1 second gap, so fantastic drive there from Jackson.
He's able now to turn down the wick potentially as he maybe is starting to set in on a race victory. Nothing for certain though in sim racing. We know as much, so often it has happened. But now you start looking at Marlon McMullen. He's got to play the defensive card now because James Scott will be trying to do everything, not just for himself in his battle for the championship, but for his teammate as well just in front, who he will be working incredibly hard to make sure that he gets as much help as possible from behind. No chances of making a move. Michael Barron unable to really get in there and get aggressive as well, but Kyle Stokes has just been sat pretty against Jack Boyd. Either he's waiting for the right time to strike or he's trying to get things going, as we've just seen a couple of spots being lost in the background there by David Kinman.
Yeah, certainly is. David, not what David wanted. Normally inside the top 15 is David's very good driver.
And look at Guy Leach.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Guy Leach, he is making moves. Tell you what. Where is he?
Don't do them around the outside. Picks the run up off the exit. He's got the inside for turn number 3, and he gets the move done on Simon Vella. Vella's going to try it up and under for 4, but he's not going to find the room, or is he? He looks, but he's not going to find, and being aggressive, here comes Jamie Stovald looking to get aggressive. He's going to come down to the inside, and he is going to look to pick this one up, but just in front of that, I believe position change as Gene Fiddies now looks to get aggressive on Nick Cummings, who has run out of road, it seems, in this battle.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's all coming to a head now. 4 laps to go. I'm wondering if we are maybe going to go time certain on this race. We've got 5 minutes countdown left of the race, so potentially the last lap may be cut
you're
short.
Good, Fonty. It's an hour and a half, not an hour, buddy. But we're still looking at this one going on. There's just correct my good friend over here, but for the time being, it seems that every battle right now is waiting for the last lap. There's 4 remaining here at Laguna Seca, and for the moment, Jack Boyd staving off Kyle Stokes. McMullen's got both Scott and Barron he's trying to deal with. Scotty McQueen's had a great drive. Jordan Ross is starting to run out of tyre because here's Thomas Hinds on the seat.
I'll jump back in again, Jake, as Fonty's had to go for some other commitments, but yeah, Hinsey looking strong in this next phase of the race, and as you said, 2 tyres are really starting to struggle. A lot of guys are really struggling with the heat out on track. Track's been cooling a little throughout the race, but for the most part, a very, very hot track, which a lot of drivers are struggling with.
They certainly are. Stephen Varga is one who is struggling. He's got
wall.
damage on that front left, as Scotty McQueen is now trying everything to pull himself a little bit further forward, but still battles up and down. Still forever staying the same, it seems, at this stage. Does Nick Cummings look down the inside? No, he doesn't. He thought, but he didn't quite find it, as we all know, and that's Scott Gamble. Yeah, just got a replay there of incident between Scott Gamble and David Kinman. Side-to-side contact, putting Gamble into the wall. So he's rejoined in 32nd, back out there. But there's a little bit of infighting happening now. As these last couple of laps are going to be really heated. Varga's in. Yeah, he's right. Varga's in the pits. Oh, that's cardinal from Stephen Varga, and he will now drop a mile down the order, as he thought he had an amazing run here today, but he has got the calculations all shades of wrong. Still, Kyle Stokes trying to stay with Jack Boyd, who has driven wonderfully to hold off the championship leader. He has kept him at bay at a 10th for probably the last 8 laps or so. He's done brilliantly. McMullen trying to pull away from James Scott. He's now got himself breathing room at the rate of half a second right now. So Michael Barron's got to start thinking, I've got to get aggressive. 3 to go, 2 at the line. And at the moment, there is no changes up and down this field. No one in a position to really go out there and be aggressive. They've pushed hard today, but everyone's seemingly the equal of the other. Yeah, it's just seeing Stephen Varga rejoin back in 31st position. He's behind little battle between Brenton O'Brien and Troy DeBono as well. So some little battles still going on back in the field, but for the most part, the field has settled a little bit. I think we're going to see a pretty heated final lap. I think we may just do as DeBono tries to find a way past O'Brien, but not quite getting there. There's Bales, and Varga will certainly have the pace to get past these drivers as they start checking each other up. And there's Varga, oh, wiggle, and down the inside of Mitchell Bales. You had to bail out of it, and talking about a gamble there from Varga. There's Scott Gamble just in the distance, trying to find his own way through as this pack of 6 continues to battle with 2 laps to go now here in this event. Kyle Stokes has got to set this one up, as does James Scott. Remember, Scott's helping out Kyle Stokes here, Jay, and this is going to be about now making one magical move as Jordan Ross, trying to save his championship, has caught Scotty McQueen. Yeah, Ross and Hinz both have caught up to Scotty McQueen, who was pretty slow on that last lap in comparison, so maybe he's a little bit short on fuel. He was the first to pit out of this entire field, so possibly is now in the same position Stephen Varga found himself in, realising he's short on fuel and now having to save to make sure he can get it home. It's going to be a tough ask, a very, very hard track to save fuel at. Scotty McQueen might have to give up 2 spots here. He may do. Thomas Hinz is closing that gap in as they make their way up to the corkscrew for the penultimate time on the brakes. No change of position. Very slow off the exit, though, is Scotty McQueen. He is checking both of them up. Jordan Ross hoping for a move through. No chance. What about Hinsey? Can he go to the outside? Try and get that one working. No, he cannot. But the final corner now looms with 1 lap to go for Jackson Suzlin-Harlow, who leads this event outright. Scotty McQueen better on the brakes and holds the position just for the time being. No changes in front. Jack Boyd, though, focus on this because he's going to go slow. There's traffic on the exit of turn 2, and that was the former Brendan Gregory getting out of the way in the KRF car. So now for Kyle Stokes, he's thinking about Jack Boyd. He's thinking about the podium. Can he find it? No, at the moment he cannot. Look a little bit further back because Jordan Ross is under pressure. Here's Thomas Hinz, big defensive line. Nothing coming at the moment as Hinsey is seeing nothing but a wall of ERT in front that he just cannot break at this stage. But now Kyle Stokes got to focus on this. His best chance comes at the corkscrew. Surely it does as he now makes his way through turn 6. Jack Boyd's got to be calm, and he is perfect through that corner. Can he get the run up at the corkscrew? That's the big answer that we are looking for. He is safe for the time being, but Stokes still has the final corner. Someone who will have the final corner now is Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. In the TTL Simworks car, he has been head and shoulders above the rest of the field. Final corner looms, and he is going to be slow off of the exit, and he will drift it Van Gisbergen style as he wins here at Laguna Seca. It will be second for Brett Loxton, and the battle for third reaches the final corner, and it will be a drag race which Jack Boyd is going to hold off the championship leader, who will still, though, gain overall. McMullen gets 5th, and he'll be happy with the way that he defended this one. Still battles towards the end. Jordan Ross holds off Thomas Hinz. So great racing up and down this pack as Cummings has run wide at the final corner, and he'll drop 2 for his mistakes. Yeah. Unfortunate for Nick Cummings after such a great job making his way up. He's going to end up finishing plus 35. Could have been plus 37 in 14th position, but I think he'll be pretty happy with 16th.
starting way back in the field in 49th. That's a good drive.
Oh, plus 37 would have been driver of the day. Plus 35, I don't think so. Kinman in a drag, though, with Jet Bennett, who's had a good finish today. It's nice to see Jet Bennett actually managed to finish a race now from once in a while. But Stephen Varga has dropped a couple of positions in the end. He will drop behind Jonathan Ben and Scott Gamble to boot. Matthew Clowett has short-filled over to the line. He will have a nice little chug along as he tries to get himself over. It's uphill all the way, and he will just about make it very, very slowly into 36th position. The last finisher on the leading lap comes across the line. So classified results, let's get them up on your screen. Jackson Suslan Harlow was the class of the field today as he managed to pick up the victory in 1 hour, 1 minute and 51 seconds. The winning margin was 3.2 over Brett Loxton, with Jack Boyd holding off Kyle Stokes in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Marlon McMullen managed to get 5th position but will lose ground in the championship, with James Scott getting 6th. Michael Barron picking up 7th, with Matt Morris a great drive up 5 to 8th place.
Got Jacob Knight and Scotty McQueen rounding out the top 10. Jordan Ross, a night to forget for him. Did recover back into 11th position in the end, so good recovery after what might have been. He'll be disappointed with 11th. Thomas Hinds in 12th also had some issues, some unfortunate incidents too. Jamie McKnight, Gene Fitties, Matthew Deere and Nick Cummings rounding out the top 16. Great job from Nick Cummings, as we said, plus 35. Incredible drive through the field.
And talking about other incredible drives, Tom Curran managed to gain himself 9 positions as he made his way up to 17th. Greg Sharp started where he finished 18th. Guy Leach had to make some recoveries today. It's 19 for the 46, sorry, as Simon Vella rounds out the top 20. Jamie Stovall, new team, 21st for him, with Chris Barnes 22nd. Rob Harris gets 23rd ahead of David Kinmond.
Got Jet Bennett in 25th position, just missed out on getting one more spot by 0.07 of a second. Shane Evans in 26th with Dave Trevathan in 27th. Brent O'Brien in 28th with Troy DeBono. He did beat him across the line in the end. Mitchell Bales in 30th. Scott Gamble 31st, and Jonathan Ben finishes in 32nd position.
Caught with his trousers down was Stephen Varga. He had to stop again in 33rd, ahead of his team boss Mark Samuel, who proved that he can defend against the very best if he needs to. Matt Lepoidovin had to pit in the pit stop window. He was 35th. Matthew Clowett ran out of fuel over the line. He gets 36th. Tony Gaffer and Nick Hausler are some of the last finishers on the leading lap, along with Brett Geratz, who finishes that off. Nathan Tregarthen, though, gets 40th position, classified 1 lap down.
The rest of our finishers 1 lap down. Katie Rostrano and also Darren Goosey and Chris Radicic. Mark Dial also 1 lap down with Brenton Gregory 2 laps down. Scott Clark 3 laps down. And then it is the horror stories for the night. Damien Johnson, Shane Rayner, Dominic Ferraris, Ruben Goodall and also Scott O'Keefe. A bad night for some of the Gordon Road Motorsports. Get a podium but also have 3 DNFs. A little bit disappointing in half of the field. But they'll be pretty happy with Jack Boyd's result in the end with P3.
He certainly will be, but we'll step aside for a moment here when it comes to SimSpeed TV, because post-race coverage coming to you after this.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney! Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive!
This is it!
This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Australian Online Supercars Championship, brought to you by West End Mazda. And what an exciting race we have come to the end of here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. It seemed all plain sailing after the caution for one driver in particular. He's part of Simworks TTL, and his name, of course, is Jackson Suslan-Harlow, joining us here in the commentary booth. Jackson, that probably goes down as one of the best drives I've managed to see from you. Managed to have to battle in the early stages, dealing with Jordan Ross, dealing with Brett Loxton, but to come out of it and win by the margin that you had, including the caution, you got to be a pretty proud man.
Yeah, I finally got it done. I was struggling in the last couple of races. I made some silly mistakes, battling too hard, so it was good to fix it all up and get it done tonight.
Well, let's talk us through the early stages of the event, because you had to battle hard. It wasn't the case of being easily fought for, especially with the contact coming out of the corkscrew with Brett Loxton. Just how much goes out of the window in a battle like that when you're put in a rhythm, you get a bit of contact, and all of a sudden things start to get scrappy?
I always like having a good battle, so I wasn't going to just sit behind and not do anything. So I saw that Jordan was there and Brett was there, so I thought we could have a good battle, and yeah, we did.
Well, some great battling we've seen in AOSC. Looking towards the next 5 rounds of the championship to end the season, you got to be thinking that after what has been maybe not the most aggressive start to the season, they can put a nice flurry of finishes in.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good start, but I'll just go for as many wins as possible in the next couple of races and see if I can win the next couple.
Well, we'll see if you can. Before we let you go, Mr. Suslan-Harlow, any shout-outs or sponsors?
Yeah, just TTL Esports, Simworks, and Thigh Designs for everything they've done, and yeah.
Well, no worries at all. Jackson Suslan-Harlow comes across with the race victory. Jay Kennedy is standing by with the man who finished second. He wasn't quite the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever would be, but he is Brett Loxton.
It's just not one of my favourite tracks, just something I don't gel with, but the track's been pretty good to me, so. The opening laps, I was just trying not to push too hard, just trying to control the pace a bit, and then I made a few mistakes going up the hill there, coming off the road, allowed Jackson up the inside a couple of times. To be honest, I was just hoping to have enough tyre life to be able to keep up with Jackson. I wasn't too worried. We raced against him on Wednesday, and he has a stint win on. They sort of fell away. Jackson was the one I was really worried.
Just realised that my microphone's not coming through the stream, so my apologies for that. But overall, a decent night for you, P2, on a track that you said you're not too happy with. You must be okay with that. Obviously, pole to go with it as well. P2 in the end, pretty good result.
Yeah, it's a good result, finally.
We better let you thank who you need to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Zuba Hosting and Domains, V8 Sleuth, Kimmy's Rural Fencing, and MP Custom Design and Fabrication.
Brett Loxton there, P2 tonight. Jake Sperry, you're standing by with 5th position, Marlon McMullen.
I never knew that Brett Loxton took Kimmy's Rural Fencing as if it was going to be Kimi Räikkönen's conversations in interviews. But Marlon McMullen joins us right now. He had a very strong defensive drive here today. Gets himself a top 5 finish to boot. Marlon, those final few laps must have been very stressful, knowing you were losing the back of Kyle Stokes, falling backwards into James Scott. Just how much resiliency did you need at the final laps today?
It wasn't too bad, to be honest, at the end. I was just sort of pacing myself between Kyle and, James behind me, because I was sort of really more focused on what happened to Jordan, because obviously, championship, that's what you're sort of focused on and who's around you. So I was just sort of sitting. I was happy where I was, in the top 5, but I felt towards the end the car did start to go. So then all of a sudden I felt, oh no, James is all over the back of me. But I felt I could handle it. But I really wanted to try get by Jack and Kyle, but I just didn't have the jandle under the throttle to do it. So I was happy with 5th at the end, but I was hoping to at least get on the podium. But good solid points today, and that's really why I'm here.
Damage limitation then in terms of what you were looking for, but you're now starting to look ahead to the next few rounds that we're seeing. It's a 2-week break though coming up here for AOSC. We're gonna miss one round because of for Easter, sorry, not IMSA. The second week missed because of V8 Scop. So a little break before the next round of the championship. Maybe a little bit of time of recuperation over this April period.
Yeah, always with the family. It's Easter, so everyone, should go out with the family, not play, iRacing. So it's not too bad to have a week off. But, at the end of the day, I'm always focused. I'm always focused on the next round. But I also take it week by week. I can't going out there going, oh, I'm going to win it, or, I'm going to get a top 5. It's just, you got to take it bit by bit. And today in the qualifying session, I couldn't, I missed about 5 minutes of the session because I was getting rejected by the service. So that was a little bit stressful, but I got in, got on with the job, and qualified 8th. Not where I wanted to start, but you just got to take it. And, end of the day, it's about championship points, and it's better to finish in the top 5 than, 30th. So I was lucky to race at the end. So bring on next round and bring on the Scops.
Bring on next round indeed. Marlon McMullen getting a top 5 finish, but that is all that we're going to have time for here this evening. So a massive thanks to the likes of West End Mazda, LeBlanc, as well as those on the iRacing Esports Network. You have been watching a presentation brought to you by SimSpeed TV. That's been Scott Fountain, who has been jumping in and out. Jay Kennedy has been behind the cameras and jumping in to fill the gap. I, of course, have been Jake Sperry, and what brilliant racing. But for all of Susan Harlow's victories, it's Kyle Stokes who holds the defensive pact that keeps this championship alive and keeps him gaining on his fellow rivals.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my God!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no!
That's massive!
This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?